Happy birthday, America! I'm JimClassic. It is the 4th of July, and for today's video...
It's August!
Is it? Yeah. This is on brand for me. Star Eagle. So yeah, I'm a bit late on this, but the reason is because Star Eagle didn't show up in the stores until about 5 days after the 4th of July. So, it happens. Anyway, here's just a quick look at the box. I like the Eagle artwork on one side. I like the artwork of the robot mode on the other side. Product shots on the back. Okay, well, that does it for that. We're going to talk about a second figure in this video, since the 250th birthday of America and the FIFA World Championship were kind of crossing over in the month of July. We're also going to talk about the Transformers Collaborative Series, the FIFA crossover robot Breakaway. Got him for $17 on discount at Walmart. There he is on package and a blister card, kind of in a running action pose. Anyway, that and product shot in the back. Alright, let's open these figures up and see what they're all about. Star Eagle is a red, white, and blue patriotic redeco of Kingdom Air Racer. And what a paint job this is, man. I gotta say, I wasn't expecting to see this beautiful metallic deep blue and red on the figure. I don't think it's the same as the vacuum metal as seen as the old trans metals, but it looks really good and premium. I mean, the paint job is so good, it really kind of outshines the face, which is just a dull, clear plastic. And I love the Air Razor face, but I do have to say, those beautiful blue eyes definitely pop. So maybe that's the contrast. Star Eagle's only accessory are her red glaring rockets, done up in that beautiful red metallic paint. Imagine some kind of star-spangled blast effect attached to each arm, and on the other end is the rocket, to kind of make it look like Star Eagle launched them. I mean, come on, that would have been neat. And I think they could have done it too. Hasbro also made the Marvel Legends Scarlet Witch, and she's got those really neat blast effects. If you kind of like daisy-chain them together, put a 5mm peg on the end of them, I think Hasbro could have done something really cool here. Of course, it also would have been nice if she had, like, an American flag to hold. Fortunately, her 5mm fists can hold the little desk ones. Star Eagle poses well and stands well and has some good articulation. But I do have to say, the joints are a little bit tighter than I'm comfortable with, so when I'm moving the figure and manipulating it, I feel like I have to be a little bit careful. Maybe it just has to be broken in a little bit more? I don't know. These tight joints, however, can make transformation a challenge. But anyway, let's segue into beast mode. Alright, let's get Star Eagle into beast mode. This is not a difficult process, but we start by removing the rockets from the arms. There we go. Okay, now we're going to rotate the feet 180 degrees, rotate the shins 180 degrees, and then rotate the waist 180 degrees. I also like to continue on by bending the wrists right here at the pivot point. There we go. Now, the chest area is going to kind of accordion out. We open up the back a little bit, and then it's going to unhinge on the interior side. So, there we go. You see that? So, it unhinge, and then make sure that back is open. We're going to flip the eagle chest and the robot head about 180 degrees. That seems to be the magic number here. And kind of, there we go, peg the back in. There we go. It likes to fight you, but it will eventually give up. There we go. There. All right. So like so. Now, with the wrists bent, there's a cavity right here where the waist is, and we're just going to position the robot fists in there. So you're going to tab right there, and we're going to do the same thing here. There we go. See? It's tabbed in right there. Now, make sure the shoulder pads are down, and now that all the legs have been reversed, we're going to tab this into the inner thigh. There we go. Again, tab this into the inner thigh, like so. Bend the shins. Make sure the bend the shins again, make sure those knees are bent, and put the rockets on the hips, like so, and the rocket right there, like so. And here we have Star Eagle patriotically soaring through the skies, hunting for Predacons. Yeah, okay. Anyway, let's get to this. So when it comes to the Eagle, of course, it's a Beast Wars Kingdom design, so there's a lot of robot kibble hanging off. There's nothing much you can do about that. But if you look at the wings, there is some nice sculpting detail going on there. The larger feathers become smaller feathers. The eagle head does look nice. Those bright blue eyes are a standout. The beak opens up, if you can get your finger in there. Ah, there we go. Opens up. A little bit, which is kind of neat. Always a neat feature. The head can rotate, can look down, very tight joints. You can look straight ahead. Now, when it comes to the wings, you have a lot of articulation going on here. I mean, there's like 1, 2, 3, 4 hinges, plus the swiveling ones right here. So you can definitely get these wings into some positions, whether he's soaring, or whether her wings are tucked in, or just kind of flapping around like a maniac. I don't know. But I will say this. This is the one thing that's concerned me about this toy. When I first took Star Eagle out of the package, I don't know, something got stuck, and this wing just popped right off the hinge. And it took me a very long time to get that hinge back on. Because right here, at this particular junction, there's a stress mark, and you might even be able to see it a little bit. I don't know. Yep, I think you can see it right there. That's a stress mark. So that means this wing should not be in the habit of popping off and on. It's going to have to stay on there forever, and I can't just go crazy with it. You know, I have to be a little bit careful just in case, because look how thin this piece of plastic is. It could break. It could just snap right off. So that is my only real concern about this toy when it comes to quality control. Now, I don't know if that stress mark manifested because it popped off or it was always there. I couldn't tell you. But I had to be very careful popping this thing back on. Anyway, I just had to cover that real quick. I mean, Hasbro could have had some real fun with this. What puzzles me is I'm kind of surprised Hasbro didn't also make an Optimus Prime, like a patriotic red, white, and blue Optimus Prime. I could see Hasbro doing that. I could even see them in a 2-pack together, like the cab has all the blue with the stars and the trailer is the red and white stripes, like something really audacious like that. Now, I think Breakaway is kind of an interesting transformer. I mean, you know, spoilers, he transforms into a soccer ball. So that makes him, you know, kind of a shell former. You see the entire alternate mode all over his limbs, his arms, and this giant turtle shell on his back. And, you know, look, it's a shell former. If you've transformed Armada Unicron or Cybertron Primus or even like the Darth Vader Death Star crossover thing, you kind of have an idea what I'm talking about here. But aside from the soccer ball parts on him, I think like the core robot is looking pretty good. Like that face sculpt kind of looks like a young version of Primus. That is my takeaway. I mean, I just referenced Primus as a planetary shell former thing. So yeah, he looks like a young Primus to me. That is the vibe that I'm getting. Of course, we see like the nice paint, the Autobot symbol there, the US logo right there. And it, you know, got some nice blue plastic, got some nice kind of shimmery metallic. I don't know, what is that, like a deep purple or a gun? It's either gunmetal gray or a deep purple. I'm a little colorblind, so forgive me. But you got some nice, you know, got some nice paint there on the red. So he's supposed to be like wearing the jersey or like a red, white, and blue bodysuit. And then I guess this is, you know, I guess these could be his shin guards, maybe, because soccer players wear shin guards. You know, blue plastic on the shoes. Now, not a big fan of the exposed ankles here. Like, I find this a little bit cheap, a little bit kind of below standards here. That's my take. Because there's like clearly a skeletal system underneath the soccer ball, I guess you could say. But I just don't like these ankles. He stands fine. See? He stands fine. But they just look too exposed. They just look too thin. You know, I mean, you open up the shin here and there's nothing. You know, it's just all hollow. But this is my least favorite part of the figure. Overall, I think the figure is fine. He looks good. And even with these soccer ball pieces on the shoulders, he poses okay. You know, ball joint. He does have a waist swivel. You can, you know, move the arms around a lot. You know, bicep swivel. There is, in spite of all this stuff, he can get into some good poses, running poses, soccer poses, stuff like that. And other than that, you know, the only thing he comes with is this accessory here. It is a soccer ball. It is a small soccer ball for him to kick around and maybe to compete against other Transformers with. So a neat detail about this figure is not only are there 3mm pegs there on the tips of the feet for the soccer ball accessory, you can just kind of put it right there. Not only is Breakaway wearing cleats, which is, you know, the footwear that soccer players are supposed to wear so they have a better grip on the ground, but there's also 3mm ports at the bottoms of the shoes, so you can attach him to a stand and get him into like a soccer pose or something. Get him into an actual running pose, and for the most part, he will stand. Now, there are some exceptions because this is a ball joint right there at the ankle, and you got this hinge and this pivot right here, so you do something wrong, and he fell over last time. He fell over last time I put him in that pose. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is you do something in a weird way, and you know, he'll fall over, or he could just, you know, it's not perfect, but he does stand better than you sometimes think he will. Anyway. Okay, so we're going to get Breakaway here into his alternate mode. Now, as I stated earlier, he's kind of a shell former. If you know what I'm talking about, you kind of have an idea what I'm about to go through here. But this isn't a difficult transformation. It confused me at first because I don't think the instructions were too good, but it's not a difficult transformation. But we start by removing this back piece here. So, yeah, this also kind of makes him a little bit of a parts former, but, you know, shame on you, Hasbro, whatever. Anyway, so we start by opening up the arms. We're going to fold the hands in and close that in. Open up the arm. Fold in the hands. Close that in. I'm also going to fold in the heel spurs right here, and I'm going to rotate the feet 180 degrees. So we're getting this guy ready. Now, the arms are going to fold back like so. Kind of tabs in right there. So, da-dum, ba-dum. All right. So we have that. Now, the chest is going to open up right here. We're going to rotate the head 180 degrees and fold it inside the body. This whole little device here is going to rotate 180 degrees. A lot of things in this are 180 degrees. Anyway, we flip that like so. All right. Fold these back down and try and be careful of these because this is, you know, this joint, this ball joint with the hinge here, you know, can be a little thin. And this was really tight at first. I broke it in so that it's easy now, but these were really tight. Anyway, we're going to close this back up like so. And, all right, kind of get that ready. Now, we're going to rotate the waist 180 degrees, and the backpack is going to hinge up like so. And again, these arm pieces are going to flip back like here and kind of connect. All right, doing good so far. We open up the legs. Open up the legs. All right, we're going to flip in the knee pads like so. And we're going to kind of connect the legs together like so. Doesn't always pop in right away. As you can see, there's still a little bit of a gap there, but that should be fine. Now we're going to kind of accordion the legs inside the shins, and while we're doing that, get the body into like kind of a crouching position. So he's kind of morph balling. If any of you out there are Metroid fans, so he's kind of morph balling in, and I don't know. Does this count as a soccer ball Gerwick mode? This might be soccer ball Gerwick mode. This could be something. This could be something. He's just waddling along with his little tiny feet. Anyway, now this is easy to do, but it's not always easy reversing it into robot mode. But we're gonna kind of rotate the ankles and kind of pivot. We're gonna rotate the ankle here and then pivot that part of the ankle like so, just kind of in there. Again, pivot, in, and then we just get the extra piece, the parts forming piece, and here we have a ball. He transforms into a ball. And we also take the small soccer ball and split this open like so. Put this in the bottom of the stand ball. We have a nice little soccer ball here on display. For the alt mode, we have a ball. It's a ball. It's a big old soccer ball. It's a little panel heavy, but that's to be expected. But nice Autobot insignia there. The U.S. team logo there. Nice star and stripes. Well, I guess stars and stripes. You know, nice. It's all well painted. It's got nice but simple logo work and just gray plastic. Otherwise, it as any self-respecting ball, it rolls quite well. And it does come with this blue stand. Now the stand is it's hollow. You put the soccer ball under there for storage, and yeah, I mean, need a display somehow. Otherwise, it just rolls away. That's it. I mean, I suppose. I mean, I don't know. I would say as a soccer ball, he might be a little bit too big for a few deluxe classes, but maybe if we get some combiners in here and play like Gestalt soccer, that could be something. I don't have any Gestalts near me at the moment, but I don't know. You know what? I think he scales in fairly well with like the Dinobot. So yeah, maybe we could just do like Dinobot soccer. That would be fun. But yeah, I mean, look, when it comes to ball formers, sphere formers, you know, he's a shell former. This isn't that bad. I mean, the transformation does take a little bit of getting used to, but you know, this is a gimmick. This is a gimmick. This was to capitalize on the hype of the FIFA World Cup, and you know, yeah, I think this makes a fun novelty. This will look good on my desk. You know, put that right there, maybe right next to Star Eagle, I suppose. And you know, it looks fine. It looks good for what it is. It's a kind of a fun figure, makes kind of a fun robot mode, even though he's kind of generic in some areas and he stands out in others. At the end of the day, Star Eagle is such a fun toy. I think her deco is fantastic and definitely above average for a modern Transformers toy. The Air Razor mold in general is solid, though in Star Eagle's case, a little bit too solid, especially with the joints. And, okay, her beast mode is a bit blocky, granted. But, of course, I also can't ignore the stress marks on the wings, so there is that. Breakaway, on the other hand, is a little bit more difficult for me to pin. I like him, but at the same time I find his robot mode a little bit generic. I think the robot mode is, I mean, it's decent. Generic, but decent. And he's got a really neat head sculpt. The sphere parts on the body don't really get in the way of the articulation, but those ankles, they stick out too far, and there are too many joints. I could see this weakening over time and just making it difficult for the toy to stand in the future, but I guess that's for future me to worry about. I think his best feature is that he's just so well articulated, and you can get him into these fun action poses, especially the soccer stuff. I think that really makes this toy worth getting, especially on the discounted price at $17. Between America's 250th birthday and the FIFA World Cup, July was a time of overwhelming positivity. Our foreign friends appeared to have had a great time visiting America, either enjoying the portion sizes of their foods at the restaurants or the country's largest gas station. That was kind of a random one. The air conditioning, or just just being welcomed by some of the locals. This is one of those moments that I am proud to be an American, and this is what I'm really celebrating here. Administrations, they come and they go, but it's the people who live here, the people who make this place happen. That's what makes me proud to be an American. And, I try to keep politics out of this channel. This is a channel for fun. I talk about toys, geek stuff. The politics are nebulous, and they're for other discussions on other channels. I try to keep things light and warm-hearted around here. I don't try to wag my finger or scold anyone or have long-winded debates on this channel. This is not the place for it. So, this is why I'm just doing this. It's for fun. And, I understand I'm not blind to the turmoil, to the difficult times that we live in. Of course I'm not. But we have lived through them before, and we got past those. Anyway, that's enough out of me. Speech over. I wish I'd gotten this video up and ready by July 4th, but that just didn't happen. It wasn't in the cards. These figures, well, this was available, but Star Eagle was not even in the stores yet. At least not that I could find. But anyway, that happens. You really can't win them all. Anyway, I'm JimClassic. You have been watching Geekin It, and happy belated America.